Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started with today's NCLUG Tech Talk. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a good afternoon. Today's Tech Talk is going to be from Bentley on printing and publishing. But before we get started, just some housekeeping details. The webinar presentation will be, we're going to mute everybody. So if you have any questions, you can just add them to the chat box. And as time allows, the presenter will address any questions they can during the Q&A or at the end of the presentation. We will be recording this webinar and we'll share the link after the event. NCLUG is also offering PDH credits to those who have registered on the website for this event. After the session, NCLUG will send out PDH receipts to those who attended this live meeting. No credit will be given to those who view the recorded presentation. As of this meeting, PDH credits have been sent out. Well, I think the last couple of weeks still need to come, but just be patient with us. We'll be getting those out soon. And stay tuned till the end. We'll be doing another drawing for a gift card. But that's all I have for now. And so I'll turn it over to Dave Meyer with Bentley, who's our presenter today. Thanks, Dave.
Well, hey, hello. Glad everybody could make it here. Looks like we've got a really good sized group. This is awesome.
Dave, you sound a little bit far away. I don't know.
I sound a little far away. Is that any better?
Yep, that's much better. Thanks.
Okay. Sorry about that. Well, hey, we're here to talk about printing stuff in MicroStation CONNECT Edition. And we're going to, take it a step beyond the, fenced area and send it to a printer sort of thing. So where we're headed today is we're going to look at maybe a slightly different way of setting up some sheets. And then we're also going to be taking a look at doing things like using some print styles, maybe a pen table, but printing to a PDF, and what's more is printing to a multi-page PDF. So that's kind of where we're headed today. I'll keep an eye on the chat box over there. So let me, as things come in, if somebody really needs to yell at me, Patty, you let me know.
I will. And I'll field the questions for you, Dave.
Okay. And I guess without too much further ado, let's start rolling with this. So what we have here is a classic, and I said classic set of files. There's references in here. There's a master file. This used to ship with the MicroStation CONNECT Edition as part of the sample.
Dave, I don't know if you're sharing the screen, we don't see it.
Well, you don't? Well, let's see what we can do about that. Is that any better?
That's much better. There we go.
Awesome. Well, okay. I'm sorry about that. But here we are. This is something that you've probably seen if you had a MicroStation Select Series open. And, in years gone by. But what we have is an intersection here, and it looks like there's a little modification to it. We created a deceleration lane and a left turn. So a little bit different than straight out of the box, but hey, we need to get this thing to some sheets. And the question is, how do we want to go about that? Well, obviously, you can go ahead and use the place fence and, maybe rotate your view and print, just print directly from the model. I think most of us know how to do that. Something else you might want to do is, reference this into a sheet and, clip and rotate and get it ready to go. And we have some sheets out here someplace, and I'm going to come over to my models right here. So I have a sheet, and you guys probably remember that you can just do something as simple as, let's go to our models right here and literally drag a model to the sheet like so, and we'll go ahead and place this reference interactively. And I'd give it a scale of some sort here. I'm not sure what a good scale would be to get the whole thing on a sheet, but I'm thinking maybe 1 inch equals 500 feet there. Let's see if that gets us anything. And we'll just simply go ahead and place it in top view. And so there it is. We'll place, and I say, oh, wow. Yeah, that'll certainly do it. 1 inch equals 500 feet. But keep in mind, that's not the entire boundary right there. That's actually just what's in my active model right there. And you can see, yeah, there's a little bit there. Well, that is a good chunk of it, but that is the active model. And I'd have to do a little bit of tweaking on that. And of course, once you've placed it, it is fairly easy to tweak. And what we would do is come over to our references. And we'll take a look at our references right here. And a couple of ways we can do this. At the moment, it's at 1 to 6,000. Maybe 50 feet. Let's just try 600. That might be a little bit too big, but that's a little bit better. Okay, and we could maybe have some, let's say a little bit of nesting for our references. And you can see that we have something here. And then what would we do next? Well, we might have to just move it around a little bit. By the way, wonderful tool to use is this guy right here. Treat attachment as an element for manipulation. Makes your reference behave like a cell, so you don't have to use the reference tools to manipulate it. And then typically you'd come in and place a fence, trim it out, and then it's ready to go. Now, one of the nifty things about sheet models is that they are, by definition, print ready. Okay, so I'll do a quick trim on this. Say, yeah, we're looking at that right there, and we'd say, yeah, we'll trim it using the clip reference. This is ready to go. And when you go to print, slide over to the print right here, and we take a look at our print dialog right there. And the cool thing is, it is ready to go. Okay, it is ready to go. That's the cool thing about prints or sheet models. Okay, we don't have to worry about scale. We don't have to worry about any of it. We just print it, and that's paper to design, but paper is design in this particular case. It is ready to go. Okay, well, that's somewhat easy. But what happens if I have a whole bunch of sheets that I want to print? Well, there are a couple of ways that we can do that and get things set up. So I'm going to bounce back to our model right here. Now there's two methods that we can use to set up a series of sheets in MicroStation. One of them is to place a named boundary. Okay, and so we can create a named boundary, and we can attach it to an alignment and maybe array along that alignment. We can also do something like grab a drawing boundary from a DGN library and place it and array that along an alignment as well. Now that's a little bit complicated. Some of that just involves having your DGN library set up and your workspace ready to go, and that's not always easy to do, especially when you need to push something out right now. You don't have access to set all that up. But let's take a quick look at what that might look like. So I could come over here and say, yeah, I would like to go ahead and attach a named boundary. So I will come over here to my view tools, and I'll say, yep, I want to place a named boundary. And I could say, yeah, I want to grab it from a sheet. So I'll come over here, and this is actually coming from my workspace. So I could say, well, yeah, let's grab a detail right here, and this will have a prefab boundary. I can set the scale for it. So we'll say like 1 inch equals 30 feet. You can see it floating around on my cursor out there. This one happens to be square and not rectangular, so it might not be great for an alignment, but I've got that, and I can say, yeah, let's go ahead and drop it on here. And I'm going to say, let's go ahead and have a number of these. That looks like I'm going to have 50-foot overlap, and bada bing, bada boom, I've got a series of named boundaries there. And what does this give us? Well, if we take a look at our named boundaries, You can see I have a group of them right here, and these can be placed on a sheet quite easily. And the method is very similar to what we did before. So let's pop back over here to this guy. As a matter of fact, let's just make a copy of this. So I'm going to pop over to here. I'm going to make a copy of that particular model. And we'll call this C101. And I'm going to say, this thing right here, not too terribly interested in that anymore, so we'll let it go. And then I can pull in a named boundary to a sheet. So let's just do that real quickly so we can see what that would look like. And again, it would be just a matter of referencing, and I'm going to reference right from my models. So I'm going to go to my default model, drag it to the sheet right here. I'm going to use the interactive method. And what you'll see is that, hey, look, there's some named boundaries out here that I could use. And so if I want to pull a particular named boundary to a sheet, just drag it, or select it, excuse me, hit OK, and I can drop that on my sheet like so. And there's my named boundary. Okay, that's another method of getting things to a sheet. Now, in this particular case, scale probably wasn't what I was looking for. It's not rotated the way I like it. And I'd have to do some adjusting and that sort of thing. But this is another method for pulling things to a sheet. All right, now there's another way that I'd like to talk about, and this is a little bit different than, shall I say, some of the more official means of putting a sheet together. It doesn't require, though, that I have a DGN library set up or anything along those lines. All right, it does require that I use what's called a saved view. Now, saved views give me some really nifty functionality. So I'm going to go ahead and dismiss this one right here. And we'll send that packing. We're not using that anymore. And I'm going to come back a sheet or two here. And as far as these named boundaries are concerned, well, let's go ahead and take a look at those real quick. And I'm just going to get them out of the way. Let's see. Over here we go. So we'll send those packing right there. Now, one of the nifty things about a saved view is that it can, very similar to a named boundary, be just dragged to a sheet, but it also is cognizant of which way is up. Let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to go ahead and place a saved view out here. And I'm going to come over to my saved views. Looks like I've got a couple of them out there already, and we'll talk about what that's for in just a moment and how to use that. But I'm going to say, just for real quick here, we'll just call this demo. All right, I'm going to do it from 2 points. Pardon me, right there. And I'll say, okay, yep, here's my saved view. And it's called demo. There it is. And you're saying, wow, that's neat. What did it do for me? Well, you guys know that you can restore a saved view, right? And you say, yeah, what do I want to do? I want to apply it. And then boom, I'm zoomed in. One of the things that folks miss is that there is a way of showing a saved view. And that's what this item right here does. If you don't see the show toggle in here, you can always right click and enable it right there. So you right click in the column header, and that will enable the show toggle. And you can see that it knows which way the view is oriented right here. You have your X and Y axis aligned or outlined on the edge of the box right there. Now, a saved view is an object like any other object. And because it's an object, I can do things like move it, rotate it, change its size. So for a little bit of fun, let's try something like this. I'm going to take this saved view right here, and I am going to just use, how about my element selection tool for a moment? Pull it up over here. And I'm going to just snap to the edge right there. And I'm going to rotate this so it aligns with my roadway up here. So I can grab my rotate command, do a 3-point rotation. And say, yeah, let's rotate this thing. And I'll say that's my current condition right there. And I want to rotate to match that. Boom, right there. And what does that get us? Well, it gets me a saved view. All right. Now, let's go ahead and pull up another view in MicroStation here, and we'll open two views for a moment. And in view number 2, we're going to take a look at a different model. So I'm going to come over here to my models, and I'm going to say, yes, let's look at that C101. All right, that's where we dropped our named boundary last go around. And let's go over here to our views. We'll tile these, and we're going to play the same game. Okay, but you're going to see it's going to look a little bit different. So let's pop over here to our home, and I'm going to pull up my models right there. And I'm going to say, I'm going to be working in this model here. I'm going to just drag the default and drop it right in here, just like we did last time. Attachment method will be interactive. Okay, interactive just allows me to go ahead and set everything up. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to say, you know what, let's grab a saved view. And I have a saved view called demo. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And I'm going to drop that in. Boom. There it is. Okay, I have a saved view called demo. Now I'm not seeing everything. And that could be because my reference isn't set up to show everything. So I can take a look at some of that. And so I can pop over to my references right here real quick. Oh, I guess they were references right there. And let's see, we can take a look at our settings over here, and we'll turn on our live nesting. And there we can see that, oh, okay, yeah, there is a few things going on out there. Not sure I need that right there. I'll get rid of that. Don't want to delete the rest of it, so delete the reference associated with this boundary. No, we'll just leave that data out there. And of course, I might decide that it would be a good idea to change the size right there. So I'm thinking, gee, how about 240 there? Make that a little bit bigger area. And the nifty thing about it is that we can come back here then and also do some things like change the area I'm looking at. All right, dynamically update that. We can even move to a different location entirely. Here, we'll move down here with that. And I said, yep, did it wake up? Looks like it did. And that's one of the fun things that we can do with saved views. Now, you're saying, well, that's nice, but what if I, want to actually meet a certain shape on a page and that sort of thing? Is there a way that we can do that? And the answer is yes. Yes, we can. So in a manner that is similar, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this here. By the way, deleting a saved view won't kill your reference, but you'll notice that the orientation isn't found anymore when you do that. I'll go ahead and kill the entire reference at this point. One of the things that we can do to emulate the functionality of the name boundary, and we can do it all within the same DGN file, is to actually create a saved view ahead of time on a sheet that has the right portions on it. So if I were to pop over here, and I'll do that, let's just go ahead and do it from right here so we can see what's happening. I'm going to say, I would like to take a look at a model called D-template right here. And you'll notice I have a couple of saved views here. All right, so I've got save view template right there, and this is probably template-1. And if I were to take a look at my saved views over in here, we'll open that up for a second. It's referring to these two saved views. Okay, now what do we know about a saved view? Well, a saved view is basically a snapshot of everything that is going on in a view. Okay, It has an area it's looking at. It has levels that it's that are turned on and off. Okay, so view attributes, all that kind of stuff is involved with a saved view. Now, normally we just go ahead and place a saved view like we did the last go around, but that didn't have a definite size to it. Certainly not a size that would fit nicely on a sheet. So, or the amount of space that I'd want to take up on a sheet. So this time I've got this guy there, and this is looking like I'll have 2 swaths per sheet here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this view to my clipboard. And so I'm going to do that with a Control-C. Boom. Okay, now what did that do for me? Well, over here, I can go ahead and paste this in at a particular scale. And so if I hit a Control-V over here, you will notice that, hey, look at that, paste from clipboard. And I've got it set at 240, which is what, 1 inch equals 20 feet. And it's coming in at an angle of 315. I'm going to actually just set it to 0 for the moment. And I'm just going to drop it in, boom, right there. Okay, now what can I do with this? And the answer is the same thing I did the last time. All right, so let's go ahead and see what can happen here. So by the way, this guy, if I were to take a look at it, we'll go to the properties over here. You're not going to go open up for me? Seriously? Okay, well, we can get to it through the Saved View dialog as well. And I'm going to say this is going to be Road 1. So let's go ahead and just rename this to Road 1. Okay, what else can we do with this? Well, let's go ahead and move it into position. And I'll grab the move command, which is hiding back over here. And I'm going to rotate this just like I did the last one. So we'll go ahead and grab our rotate tool. I'm using a 3-point rotation. We'll align right there. And then I might just decide, let me move this around, move this maybe from the center of it right here. And we'll put that, maybe not quite at the end, but maybe somewhere right like this. Here, we'll get our southbound lanes in there. Okay. And so now I have a saved view that will fit nicely on a sheet, okay? And actually 2 of them. So what do we do next? Well, here's what we can do next. We can take the saved view and we can array it along an alignment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my array. Wonderful tool. Have you guys used this much? I'm sure you have, right? This is one of those tools that you should talk to your boss about. You said, what? I said, yeah. It's always good to talk to your boss about arrays. Anyway, let's continue on here. I want to array this element. Okay, boom. Here's what I want to array it along, this path right here. Okay, now, what do we want to do? Oh, a distance? A number? Evenly? Geez, we didn't even check to see how long the thing was. Let's double check that real quick. We'll come over here to our analyze. This looks like it's 520 feet long. Okay, so I'm going to say, let's have our distance at 450 feet. So we'll have a little overlap on either end. There we go. I'm going to start right about here. And then we'll come all the way down to the end of here. Da-da-da-da-da. And yeah, probably a little bit extra there, but that's the way that divided up. And what do I have? Well, I have a series of saved views. You said you do, and I said, yeah. Are you sure? Well, let's check it out. So I'm going to come back to my view right here. And if I take a look at my saved views, you'll notice I have road 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, well, that's nice. what do we do with that? Well, let's set up a few sheets. Okay, let's set up a few sheets. So we're going to come over to our models right here. And we had a model called C101. All right. And what do we need to put on that model? You said, well, how about a couple of items or saved views? And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to come over to my model right here. Oh, it was already open. Sorry. I'm going to pull that over here. Drop it on. Interactive. Yep, you bet. I'm going to say want road 1. Okay. 1 inch equals 50 feet. Yeah, we'll see how that looks. And that looks a little bit small here. Let's just try that again. And I'm thinking we could probably go with 1 inch equals 20 feet. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop that in right here. I'm not going to be particularly nice and clean about how it happens. I could be a little bit more fussy. And then I'm going to do the same thing underneath. So let's go ahead and do that as well. So again, drag and drop. Interactive. Let's see, what else do you want to do? Drawing boundary. Do I really need a drawing boundary? Maybe not this time. And I might get rid of that one in a bit. And we said 1 inch equals 20 feet was working pretty well for us. And we'll drop this one in right underneath. Say, oh, okay. Now, not seeing a whole lot with these. And you're saying, well, why is that? And somebody mentioned, oh, it might have to do with the way your references are set up. So we'll come over here to our references. All right, and we'll go to tweak our settings here. So I'm going to pop over to right here, and we'll say, yeah, let's add some nesting to that. There we go. We'll do the same for this one up here. So we'll add the nesting, and there we go. Okay, well, that's not too bad. I might have to do a little, shall we say, adjusting. And so I might decide it's necessary to maybe move this one down a little bit here. All right, so now I've got a couple of these per sheet. And it's real easy to make additional sheets once I have this first sheet set up. Okay, how do we do that? Well, check this out. So that's got 1 and 2 on it. And I decided that we were going to delete that. We'll get a nastygram. It says, do you want to delete the boundary? And you say, no, we don't want to. We'll just leave it as is. And then we'll create a new sheet from this. So we'll come back over to our models right here. That was sheet 101. Let's do another one. So I'm going to do a copy. And we'll say, hey, this will be 102. Now, there's really nothing to set up this time. Once I've gotten this far, it's real easy to continue on creating sheets. And what we can do is we can go right to our references. And you'll notice it's set up the same, but I can grab, did I do the same one twice? I did. Bad, Dave. Hold on, let's come back over here. I thought well, here's the secret, guys. I'm going to have that be road 2 right there. Or actually, that should have been road 1. Just got to make sure I got the right one in place. That might help. That one's road 2. This one's road 1. Okay, I made a copy. Guess what we're going to do here? Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Okay, and this will be road 3 right there. And then this one down here will be road 4. And just because we haven't had enough fun, let's go through that little exercise again. And what we're going to do is just make one more copy. Copy this guy, not there, from our models. And we'll pop back over here to our references. And we'll say, not sure we even need that one up there, so we'll detach it. And this one right here, we'll take our last small section on right there. And just move that up. And there we have it. So if you don't have fancy tools to take care of this in your vertical applications, MicroStation itself can do a bit of this, just using saved views. All right. All right. So, well, that's nice. We've got some saved views here. We've got some sheets. What else do we need to do? Well, it may be that we need to go ahead and put these into a set and get them out the door. So let's take a look at how we might go about that. All right. I'm going to take a look at what we call the print organizer. And in the print organizer is where I can go ahead and collect sheets from various drawings and get them ready to print. Now, it doesn't have to be sheets. It can actually be other things. So it can be other models, but I'm going to go ahead and pop over here to my print area, and I'm going to say, hey, let's open up the print organizer. And we have a dialog that looks a little bit like this. You said, oh, okay, let's go ahead and grab some files. So I'm going to say, yeah, I would like to add some files to the set. So I'll say, yep, add files to set right there. And I'm going to grab some input files. Now the files I'm interested in are this guy right here. We certainly want that one. And let's see, I'll probably want to add the cover to it, the details. Anything else in here that I want to include with it? Oh, that's probably good for right now. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. And one of the things I'm going to do after I've selected the files, I'm going to say, you know what? Let's go to the manually specified options. And out of those files that I'm looking at, I want to take a look at just the sheet models. Okay. Now the cool thing about sheet models is they are print ready. Okay, they're print ready. Now, if I didn't use sheet models, let's just say I did things using a more traditional workflow where you maybe reference in a title block, move the title block, rotate it into place. Okay. By the way, those are all valid workflows. I might then have to go in and say, yeah, and I want to take a look at a cell. And I would use that as the area to print, okay? But for me, I'm going to be looking at sheet models, so I don't have to worry about a fence area. I'll hit OK. And let's see, anything else? I could apply a print style to it, but we'll do that later. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK right here. And MicroStation's actually going through all those files and opening them up, and look at what it found. And it looks like it found a number of different things. Let's see. Did I tell it to open up the other sheet models? I thought I had grabbed those. Maybe it only grabbed the one for me. Let me go ahead and double check that. So let's add another file to the set here. We want that one. And let's see. Okay, there it is. Yeah, it came in now. So I've got my cover drawing, and I think I wanted the details as well. Add files to set. And where did my details go? Right there. So I really only want the sheet in those, so I'm going to go to my manually specified options and say just the sheet models there, please. Yeah, does it not have a sheet model in it? I thought it did. I could be wrong. Or I could be just not remembering what was in all of these things. That being said, we'll give it one more shot here. We can try that one. That's probably more than I need. Well, there's a few more sheets. So we can take a look at what's going on with these. So I'm going to just select all of them right here. And I'm going to go to my print preview. And what that'll give me is all my sheets here. So that's the first one there, second, third, fourth, okay. And this one, probably don't need that. That would be my template. And that one looks like just a drawing in the cover. Here's some details, some more details. That looks like my cover sheet right there. Plan and profile. Yeah, there we go. I just didn't have the right drawings open. A few other items here. Okay, now, as I'm looking through some of these, I'm thinking to myself, cyan on white is impossible to read. Okay, and it could be that I've got a few other issues as far as things not referencing, and I have some broken references, so I'm not seeing all my border information there. Now, apart from that, though, I might want to adjust some of my color settings and that sort of thing. So let's take a look at what we could do with that. I'm going to kick a few of these out because I really don't need them. So this guy right here, yeah, I don't need that. And that just removed it from my set right here. And let's see, was this guy right there, was that the actual cover? No, that was just the data for the cover right there. So I'm going to move that one. I'm going to move my cover up to the top just by dragging it up. You can also use these arrows right here. And let's see, I've got some plan and profiles. Okay, I've got the sheets that I did. And I got some details. Now, one of the things we can do is we can actually create some groups over here. And I'm going to say, yeah, we'll call this details. Okay, and we'll do another one, just we'll call it plan. Not under there, though. Now we can do that. We probably don't want to this time. Now, what does this give us? Well, it gives us a way of organizing things, that's for sure. So I'm thinking my cover sheet I'll leave out there. Some of these other things as far as the details, I'm going to grab those and drop them into the details right there. And oh, good grief, let's take a few of these here. Drop those into plans. Okay, we'll put our details at the end. And now we have, some things that we can go ahead and send to the plotter. But there's a few tweaks that we need to make. You're saying, yeah, there was. You mentioned something about that. So let's make a few adjustments to things. And specifically, when we were looking at the details, what was one of the issues there? Well, when we looked at the details, you can see that, hey, some of this looks a little gray. Let's look at the other ones as well. I'll open them all up this time. little bit gray, done with cyan, which is really hard to see. Okay, and we want to make a few adjustments to those. So we're going to do that by applying what we call a print style. Okay, we're going to apply a print style to these. So how do we do that? Well, print styles are found over here under the tools. Now you have some print styles, or you may have some print styles that load through your workspace. Okay, I don't have any, so I'm going to define a new one. So I'm going to come over here to my define print styles right there. That'll open up the print styles dialog, and one of them is, what I want to do is I want to make it monochrome. Now there's a lot that we can do with the print style, but we'll just keep it easy for the moment. And I'm going to rename this one monochrome. All right, now what do I do with this? Guys, it's really tough. I'm just going to come over here and say, let's make that monochrome right there. Okay, that's my color option. Now there are a number of things that we can do, guys. Okay, so we can tweak print areas, scale. All right, we can define the fence a particular way. We can turn on and off various view attributes for printing. All right, we can tweak levels to be on and off. All right, and we can also make adjustments to references. There's a few other goodies out here as well. With the common settings, we can choose print drivers and printers. Okay, there's some PDF settings and raster settings as well. Okay. All right. So let's just take a look at what this did though. So if I pop over to, yep. If I pop over here to these guys right here, I can just select them all. And I can say, hey, let's apply a print style to those. And I'm going to apply the print style monochrome. And we'll take a look at how those came out. And now, hey, all of a sudden, I can see things a little better. All right. Now, print styles are kind of nifty because you can apply a number of them in succession to one another. Okay. So I could come along and apply another one that might change the paper size after that if I wanted to do half-size sheets. So with something like that, I'd probably change some line weights and certainly scale things down to a half-size sheet. There are some conventions that you should be aware of when we do print style. So if I come over here to define a different print style, not sure what this one would be, but if I were changing things, you'll notice that a number of these have blanks and triple state check boxes. So for instance, I can say, you know what, I want to have this be rasterized. So I'll say, yep, it'll rasterize it when it sends it. I don't want it rasterized, and that would be blank, okay? Or when you see the square in there or something is blank, it means leave it as you found it, okay? It means leave it as you found it. All right, let's see. I don't want to change anything there. Do we want to take a look at a few of these odds and ends? That one looks all right, I guess. And yes, you can also tweak things here as well. Okay. Let's get this to a let's get this to a PDF. So I think what I have here is decent, and so I'm going to do a print, and I'm going to come down here to print right there. Want to make sure that I'm printing to a PDF, so I'll go to my printer setup right here, and I'm going to grab the PDF. PLT, I'm not sure that's the one I want. Is that all I got there? Ooh, not sure where I put it. Let me go ahead and reopen that. So that's a long access PDF. That's not the one. I'll use PDF2 here. Not sure exactly what I've got set in that, but it should work. Okay, and it should grab the proper paper size for me and all that. So Bentley PDF print driver. Yep, that's good. I'll hit OK. And I want to print everything. We're going to submit this as a single print job. What that'll do is it'll combine all of these items into a single PDF. And we'll open it up after it's printed. Where are we going to put this thing? Oh, I'm just going to throw it out on my desktop. I'll call it Roads. And we'll hit save right there. And we'll let it rip. Okay, and here's our PDF file. So there's my cover. And let's take a look at what else we got. There's the first sheet. Okay, those are the sheets where I split up some views. This one as well. Not overly exciting, but it's there. A few other odds and ends. Uh-oh. Huh. Did I not get that to go? I thought I changed that. Maybe something went wrong. I'll have to double check that. But let's take a look at something else that happened here, guys. And here's what's kind of cool. If you take a look at this, remember those folders I made? They actually translate the bookmarks in your PDF. All right. So yeah, what happened here? Huh. Well, evidently somebody wasn't paying attention or something. And I wanted to apply the print style, monochrome. Let's take a look at those this time. All right, looks a little better there. So I'm not sure where, but evidently I did. And that is one way to handle print sets. Now, there are other things that we can do along the way, and we really hadn't talked about all of those. Let's go to a particular page for a moment. So I'm going to, I can save this and open it later. So yeah, I'll go ahead and save the changes to this one. And we'll just call it Wednesday. So we can get back to it later. But let's go over to the C100 right here. And when I go to print this, there might be something that I want to do with it. Let me go ahead and delete that right there. Oh, didn't want to do the whole thing. There we go. You may be looking at this and going, yeah, that's nice and everything, but I want to you know, tweak some of what's going on when I go to print. And what can I do with that? Well, we have this thing called pen tables, and you can think of a pen table as a program that sits between MicroStation and your printer. And when MicroStation goes to print, it sends stuff to the printer, but this program intercepts it before it gets there. And then based on what you have set up in a pen table, it makes changes to those elements before it sends it on to the printer. Okay, that's the idea behind a pen table. Now, you can apply a pen table through a print style, okay? You don't have to. You can actually just use a pen table on the fly. So in this particular case, what do I got here? Well, I've got some maybe green lines with my topo out there. They're a little bit invasive. I might want to see that, but I might want to make them a little more subtle. And we could do that using a pen table. Now, there are obviously other ways we can do it. We could also, tweak it via reference settings by making them transparent or something. Number of things to do, but let's go ahead and use a pen table this time. So I'm going to come over here and say, yeah, I'd like to print this. I'm going to pop down to my print right here, and I'll just go to standard print for a moment. And you can see what things are looking like. And I'm going to say, yeah, let's create a pen table for this. So I'm going to say, yeah, okay, we'll create a new pen table, and we'll call this one, call it overall. This is just going to be applied to the overall that we have here. And what do we want to do? Well, with a pen table, we have these different sections over here. And a section is basically, think about it as a kind of a standalone rule. All right. And you can have a number of rules that are being applied. So this new section here that we have, I'll go ahead and rename it. And we'll call this topo. And I can select elements, and that's what the element selection criteria is. This is basically where you build the filter, and the things that I trap in my filter, I can go ahead and tweak before I send them out. So what do we want to do here? Well, I could go to the levels right here and see if there's anything in the level that I might want to tweak. So I've got some terrain sort of settings, if those indeed come in via the terrain. Few other odds and ends here. So I could say, yeah, let's grab terrain. And if I hover over this right here, it is on the, it is terrain. It's on the level survey existing terrain, okay? All right, so level survey existing terrain. Let's see if we can go, that's not that. Let's go find the existing, survey existing terrain. There we go, that's the one we want. Okay, so things that we find on survey existing terrain, what do we want to do with it? Let's go ahead and just screen it. Okay, and see what that does for us. I'll say okay, so we'll save this. And we'll come over and repaint it. Let's take a little bit bigger look at that. Yep, there we go. It's thinking about it. I'm not sure why it didn't grab it. There we go. All right, well, that's a little more subtle. Maybe a little bit more of a tweak on that. So we could come over here and say, oh yeah, let's do a couple of other things. Let's make our line weight, perhaps a little skinnier. Okay, we'll make sure that everything's at a 0 there, and we'll really pull this down. Did I do a save? Yep, there we go. And let's refresh. Okay, still there, but much more subtle now. Okay, well, that's not too bad. Could we apply this with a print style? And the answer is yes. Yes, we could. So this will be good for this particular print right here. Okay. And if we went to print, we'll go ahead and print to, oh, good grief. What printer was I going to? Ha. Let's go into the Windows printer. Let's go back to our PDF right here. If we print to that, it should come out subtle. Did I print it? It didn't open it up. I'd have to go find it and open it up, but hey, I think that's the one we just now created. Yeah, that looks like it. Let's open this up. Okay, yeah, that looked decent. Now, if we want to apply the same thing to our print set, let's go ahead and do that. So we'll come back over here, do a file, come down to the print right here. We'll open up the print organizer, and let's see if we can find, there's our Wednesday preset. We'll open that up right there. And if we take a look at what we have in here so far, let's see what's happening. Is that the right sheet right there? Generating the preview. Nope, that's not it. It was this one right here. Okay, I'll have to pull this over. And you say, yep, that's looking pretty hefty right there. Not what I wanted. Okay, so what do we want to do to tweak that? Well, what we can do with that is we can come back here to our tools, and we can go to our define print styles right here. Now, if we wanted to, we could add it to the monochrome. Probably don't want to do that if we want color though. So what we'll do instead is we'll create another one. So we'll this one is just going to, we'll rename it topo. Okay, so this will lighten up our topo. What do we want to do to it? Hey, how about a pen table? Well, that makes good sense. So I have my overall pen table. I'm going to apply that to it. That's all I'm going to do with this. We'll save it. Save. Okay, we'll dismiss this. And now this item right here, I could go to apply a print style. All right. If I open this thing up, I could also have applied the pen table here on a standalone basis. All right, so that is a possibility as well. But a print style takes all these items, okay, and sets it. And I hear Patty coming in saying, "Dave, wrap it up," and I'm right there. So we'll just quickly apply the print style and say, yep, we want to apply the topo to that right there. And if we were to take a look at the preview from here, aha, look at that, just what we ordered. Okay, I'm done.
All right, well, that's good. I mean, I just want to give people an opportunity to ask questions. I know we're right here at 1 o'clock. So if anybody has a question, you can type it in the chat box, or we can, you can unmute yourself. But as we wait to see if anybody has any questions, I'll just go over. We will be sending out PDHs for this in the next couple weeks, so just stay tuned for that. And we are looking to start planning for 2021. So if anybody's interested in being on the board or providing input, just send us an email at events@nclug.com. We'd like to hear your feedback. Our winner today was Andy Smith. And we'll just send you an email, Andy, with all the details on that. And so I appreciate everybody joining us today. Does anybody have any questions? Dave, we appreciate you going over this topic, a lot of detail, but very, very good information. Well, looks like you covered it pretty thoroughly. Nobody has any questions? I'm sure not until they start digging into it, but hopefully maybe you can go back. This video will be posted on the nclug.com website. So you get into it and you come back, you can come back to this video and see if you can get your questions answered. All right. Well, Dave, appreciate it.
Well, all right. Well, thanks for watching, folks. Do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.